sugar, spice, and everything nice. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girl, but Professor Utonium accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction. Chemical X! Thus the Powerpuff Girls were born using their ultra superpowers. Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup have dedicated themselves to fighting crime and the forces of evil. So today we're going to make very, very cute Powerpuff Girl cupcake toppers. The show is back and I'm excited because we grew up together and we're about to take over the world once again. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to start off with Blossom. I'm sorry Blossom, I have to cut off her head. I made these templates just by tracing pictures on the computer. Make sure that they're the same size as your cupcakes. So we need to cut off her head and we need to also cut out that hair. I used a complexion color fondant to cut out her face and I'm going to use a kind of brownish color to cut out her hair. And I'm using an X-Acto knife. You can use any sharp utensil because this is a very detailed project. Now we also need to cut out that ponytail. Do that, add a couple little indentations in there, then set that to the side. Her eyes are like a light pink, so I'm going to use a tip for the pink part and for the black, as well as the whites of her eyes. And I'm just sitting them on top to make sure that the size is appropriate for the face. I'm going to begin to form the eyes. I need to make sure that they're perfectly matching up to the template, and I'm going to put a little white dot that I cut out with the bottom of a tip on top, front and center, in the middle of that black pupil. Sit those on top of her pink eyes. We actually have to cut off a little bit of the eye because it's not a full circle because of her bang. And then we're going to move on to that beautiful bow. It's actually a darker shade of pink than her eyes and her dress. And now we can put it all together. I also made a little smile for her with some black rolled fondant. You can put the eyes down first, and then the bang, and then her bow, and lastly her ponytail just sticks right on the bottom. It actually looks like a beard right now, but it's gonna work later on, just trust me. Now it's time for Bubbles, our sweet little innocent Powerpuff Girl. Just like Blossom, we're going to start off by tracing out her head with the light complexion fondant. And you're not going to go around the ponytails just yet. We're just going to act like those ponytails aren't there and make that full circle. Now we're going to roll out some yellow fondant for her blonde hair. Instead of cutting out the stencil, I'm actually just going to trace over her bang to make an indentation into the fondant so that I can just cut it out that way. And to make her right ponytail, I'll just simply roll the piece of fondant into a little ball and formed it into a teardrop shape. And then I'm going to press it right over her ponytail so I get the size right and just pinch off little pieces. And by pinching that, it actually makes a little indentation which looks like a really cool ponytail hair type of effect. And her left ponytail is just a half circle of fondant. Now Bubbles is known for her blue, so we are going to take some baby blue fondant and use a tip to cut those circles out. And then we're going to do the same with the black. The black of course has to be a little bit smaller so that it can fit within the blue. And all of these sizes of course are going to depend upon the actual stencil size that you're using. So when you do have your stencils, just go ahead, go through all of your tips and just see what tips come closest to the actual size of the stencil. Now I cut out her eyes so that I could really get this part right. We really want this to be precise. So I'm just sitting it on top so that I know where to place that little white dot, which I'm also going to cut out with a tip. Now that I placed the white fondant on top, I can completely cut off that excess. For the left eye, we're going to do the exact same thing, except the amount of eye that we need here is only about 1/4. So I'm going to just cut off one side and then fully take away the amount that I need with a piping tip. Now we can build our bubbles. You're going to put down the bang first, leave the left side unstuck so that you can stick that left ponytail up under there. And then you can apply the eyes. It'll look a little bit weird and goofy at first, but just trust your instincts and work as you go. For some of these I needed to keep on trimming away just to make them look perfect like the picture. And then you can add that right ponytail. She also has an outline, a white outline in her eye, so roll out a very thin piece of fondant and apply that all the way around the circumference of her eye. She has a cute little smile that makes her innocent and bubbly, so we're going to apply that with some black fondant, and then we're going to set bubbles aside. Now it's time for our Sassy Buttercup. We're of course going to cut out her face, and we're also going to work on her hair, so just trace out the hair, and I'm going to sit her hair right on top of her face just to get that out of the way. I'm going to cut out her eyes just by doing that indentation again. I had to cut away the tops of the eyes to make them a little bit smaller, like in the picture. And then don't forget her little smirk and that little thin piece of black fondant over her eye. Now I have to make their dresses. I have to make them full-bodied, right? So I just went over the stencils. They were very, very easy to make. All of their dresses take a thin piece of black fondant and they're the same color as their eyes. For their limbs, I just rolled a piece of that complexion color fondant and I simply applied them to their bodies, and I added little black dots for shoes. And together they make the Powerpuff Girls. They will save the world once again. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Marisha's Couture Cakes. Couture in Powerpuff Girl Cupcakes. Bye guys. Hey guys, how excited are you that Powerpuff Girls are back? Powerpuff Yourself was actually trending the other day on Twitter, so I know that I am not the only one out there that's super excited for the Powerpuff Girls to be back. I'm definitely a cartoon buff still. I have some favorite shows that I watch on Cartoon Network all the time. My favorite Powerpuff Girl has always been Buttercup. I love her. I love that she's spicy and she's got an attitude and she's fun and she kicks booty. Let me know who your favorite Powerpuff Girl is below, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.